Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
What's going on YouTube? It's Filthy and we're back with another video. Doing another starter build today for Season 27, Diablo 3. This is going to be the Whirlwind Rend Barbarian, which is the starting set. Pretty solid start, quite powerful. Probably not the fastest. We have covered DH extensively. I will talk about the differences. There is a couple of advantages, I think, to doing this over DH, but in the whole, I think DH is probably the way to go. But as I say, we'll get into that. As always, a thumbs up brightens my day. Let me know how many Brave Barbs do we have out there. I think it's a really good choice if you're going to group. Z-Barb always is in demand. You'll be able to pick up some pretty baller gear. Looks like the Barb's got a very strong build next season with LOD Hota, so Legacy Dreams, Hammer of the Ancients. Gonna take a while to set that up, I think, so maybe one that you could transition into from another class, but by all means, if you want to start Barb and start looking for those pieces, you absolutely can. Now, first off, the character looks a little bit weird. I just kind of want to simulate what it would be like to just get your six pieces of Wrath of the Waste and the supporting items in the cube. Now, in terms of leveling through the game on the Barb, you're going to get your two pieces first. The two piece on the Whirlwind set is actually quite nice. Rend gets 500% damage increase and increases its duration. What you need to bear in mind though is without an Ambo's Pride mighty weapon, you are going to have to manually cast your Rend, because it's only this weapon that applies Rend. So if you don't have this, you need to press the Rend button to actually do the Rend damage. Very easy to forget because we're just used to, pressing Whirlwind, whizzing around, and that being our kind of source of damage. 4 piece we get some damage reduction and then an even further increase on Rend, so just a bit more damage again. So basically the 2 and 4 piece, as far as I can see, make Barb really strong to getting the 6 piece. Clearing a GR20 solo is going to be an absolute cakewalk with a Barb. Even if you only had 4 pieces and a bunch of yellow items, I think pretty much anybody could knock that out of the park. I don't see it as being particularly difficult. The 6 piece Whirlwind gains the effect of the Dust Devil's rune. Couldn't care less about that really. Whirlwind and Rend both have the damage increased by 10,000%. Now, until you get the Ambo's Pride, you will be relying a little bit on Whirlwind damage. So as you Whirlwind around with your 6 piece without an Ambo's, you will be able to deal damage. Your still bulky damage would be by pressing Rend. That is still going to do a lot more damage than Whirlwind. So you don't want any Whirlwind damage. If you happen to get your helm and it drops with it, or your boots and it drops with it, by all means, roll it off, because it's not going to help you. What you do want though is Rend damage. If you get it on your shoulders early, it's fantastic. If you get it on your chest early, again, so much the better. Now, I can't take my Augs off because I don't tend to keep crap gear on my non-season account. But the main stat that we've got today is 9,400. That is high. When you put on your 6 pieces, you won't get to this figure, that's for certain. But you will probably have a damage figure higher than 300k because I've just rolled just lucky dip at Kadala for yellow items. So look at this amulet, for Christ's sake. 11% lightning damage and 13% life. We almost may as well not have that. It is making such a little difference. So you will have more damage than what I'm going to show you now, even though it does look like, yes, a primal piece or whatever. Now, at level 1, you can make a fresh Barb once you get to 70, and I always do this, and I will go back and I'll roll shards for Band of Might. So go to Gadala at level 1 on a different character and just blam rings. And there's only, I think, 2 in the loot pool, so you've got a high probability of a Band of Might popping out. It'll pop out much faster than rolling rings at 70. You can extract it and put it in the cube. And Ambo's is not too bad to get. There's not that many mighty weapons in the loot pool, so you'd find them on the ground as you're going. Every one that you find, save it, stick it in the stash, and then you can come over and upgrade, and hopefully speaking, you'll get your Ambo's. But it's by no means certain. It's about 250 dBs, 225 dBs, something like that on average to find. Average is just a bell distribution curve, guys. Some people are going to hit this first time and pog out. Some people are going to be commenting, I've upgraded 27 of the mighty weapons and haven't had an Ambo's Pride. Look, it's just how RNG is. Last time I grouped with a Barb who was doing Whirlwind at the start, the poor Barb didn't find an Ambo's until the very end of the evening. It took all night to find one. That's sometimes how it goes. But the great thing about an ambos is, I've got it in the cube here just to demonstrate so that we can have 2 yellow weapons, but it's got no damage roll, no damage range. It is just simply flat as it is. Attacking Whirlwind, applies Rend, and Rend gets its damage dealt over 1 second. So a real squish of the 15-second duration down to a second. So it's a huge damage bonus for this build. And the great thing is you don't have to worry at all about whether you get a low modifier or a high modifier. The other supporting item, which is nowhere near as important as the ambos, but obviously still does help out a lot, is the Lamentation. Rend will stack twice and get a damage increase of 150%. So if you're wanting to do T16, you're going to need a Lamentation, you're going to need an ambos. This is a mighty belt. This is fairly expensive to pop out from shards, because the issue you've got is that you can't isolate for mighty belts. So you will, for instance, get stuff like that where you just get a rare belt instead of a mighty belt. So it's fairly expensive. It's about 5,000 blood shards on average to pop out. And just by way of context, the Demon Hunter satchel for multi-shot, the Dead Man's Legacy, is about half that. So it is twice as rare. But, you know, what you can do to put the odds in your favour a little bit is, if you do get your ambos out the way and you still haven't found your Lamentation, you then want to move on and upgrade mighty belts in the cube. And again, you know, there are quite a few, but it will help. It'll help you out anyway, I guess. Let's see if we get lucky on this last one. Probably not. No, we got 2 Girdles of Giants, a Chilanix Chain, and an Undisputed Champion. All different kind of barb belts, but sadly no Lamentation. But they're the 3 things you need for the cube, basically. And when you get your Lamentation early on, you will probably put it on your character. Extracting it's not the worst thing in the world, because you get the max modifier. So if you get a really crappy one, I think it goes pretty low, maybe 100 to 150%. Not sure exactly on the modifier, but there is quite a wide range on it. Again, similar with DH, once you've done some bounties, you might want to have a little try at the Guardian set. Because this is going to be buffed for the next patch. It's going to double your main stat, so you could easily take Guardians here and here and get a pretty big damage increase. Obviously you wouldn't need it for T16, but for speed drifting, that's something that, you know, maybe when we get to the season we will test out. But other than that, we've got some crap gear. We've got 2 yellow mighty weapons, 2 yellow rings, yellow braces, yellow belt, and yellow amulet. You know, by all means, you'll have better stuff than this. Fine, you probably won't have the 28% rend damage that we've got across these 2 items, and you probably won't have double crit on your gloves. But as I say, I'd be surprised if anybody getting their 6-piece set has got worse gear than this and a sheet damage figure of less than 300,000. Obviously, I've taken all of the Paragon points out. I've left move speed in because it just, you know, feels horrible to play without move speed. Once you've had it, once you've got it, you can't take it off. In terms of skills, what I should have said actually, because we did get lucky well, theoretically in the season, and hit one of the bul-kathos weapons. These are my favourite weapons to use for the Whirlwind Barb, because they will generate fury when you've got both the set on. They give you move speed, give you attack speed, you know, very nice. But until you do get that, wind shear is pretty much a must. You gain 1 fury every time you hit something. So obviously the more enemies you hit, the more fury you get. So you can run out of fury. That is one of the issues with Whirlwind until you get those 2 bul-kathos blades. Wrath of the Berserker Insanity is always more damage, a whole bunch of extra stats as well. Again, you know, Immortic's Brace is a nice item to pick up, which gives you every rune on Wrath of the Berserker. But again, you know, something you'll have to try and find along the way. Other than that, you need a way of activating your Band of Might, which gives us 80% damage reduction in the cube. So we're going to take Furious Charge. Merciless Assault is always one of my favourites, because as you hit with it, you reduce the cooldown. Just makes it so much easier. Rend, Bloodbath, you need a Ruined Rend, basically to do more damage. At some point, I think with enough Gons, you can just simply take this off. I tend to just leave it on, but Bloodbath is the most damaging rune, so we go for it. And then other than that, we've got Ignore Pain, Bravado for a bit of move speed and toughness. Obviously, as you go through the game, you will look to get yourself a gold wrap, a Boon of the Hoarder combination to make yourself immortal when doing keys. But until then, Ignore Pain for 50% damage reduction is pretty handy. That with the Band of Might will make you pretty tanky, but this won't have anywhere near perma uptime. And I think the only other skill I've used is Walk Around Punities. Doubles up as a nice little Fury boost for us. Just 20 Fury, not amazing, but it is something. And we do also get extra toughness out of this as well, which T16 you'll see, even just like with the bare minimum out the box, no gold wrap, no toughness. We are a little squishy, so we'll warn you on that. Bul-kathos to get Wrath of the Berserker back faster. Ruthless, always a great starting passive. 40% extra damage when enemies get below 30% health. Really handy for Rift Guardians. Nerves of Steel is always a good early passive for the Barb. It's just a cheat death. You want to get one of these tokens for the follower and primarily rely on that cheat death. But as I say, we're a little squishy in this build with no gold wrap, so I would put it on. As soon as I got a gold wrap, this thing's history. We're going for maybe Berserker Rage, 25% more damage, near max Fury. Unforgiving is nice, it will generate Fury for us, so that can be okay if you feel like you need it. And then what's the other one? Brawler, isn't it? Brawler. 3 enemies within 12 yards, another 20% damage is always good. Move speed is brilliant. Pound of Flesh. I will show you like what the build that I use for keys and Whirlwind once we've got this done. Rampage is handy. The higher your strength figure, obviously, the more impact this has. Imagine this paired with the Guardian set. If you can pump your main stat up to, let's say, 24,000, something like that with the Guardian set, and then with Rampage stacked to 25%, that is a big strength increase. So I'm kind of excited to see what that can do in speeds. But other than that, I guess let's just have a little go. If we get the Shrouded Moors, we're the hell out of there, because I ain't playing that map. Let's see, what have we got? Not Shrouded Moors, right, so we get the buttons mashed. We just need to make sure that we've got the Band of Might procced until we get that gold wrap. We want to stay away from stuff that's going to hurt us. But as you can see, a little squishy, just simply because we've got no gold wrap, we've got no Paragon points. Our life pool is a measly 500,000. But the important thing is we have the damage to get this done. So this is only with the Bane of the Powerful. That's the only damage gem, so no Taeguk, no Trapped. Obviously both those things would be ideal for extra damage early on, but again, you can't really rely on the RNG of which order you're going to get your legendary gems. It feels like to me the Bane of the Trapped is always the last one out. It just seems to be that way, but I guess I've probably had seasons where it's come out first. But hopefully you get the idea. We've got enough damage to get through this, just about on toughness. But bear in mind, you'll have Paragon points to put into this stuff, so this is kind of as ugly as this is going to look. And unless you happen to hit your Ambo's Pride on your very first mighty weapon upgrade, you're probably going to have legendary weapons. Maybe an endgame, maybe just 2 random barb weapons that won't do much for you, but will still help you do a lot more damage than just having 2 yellow crappy items. But yeah, I hope you get the idea. So that is the barb. Let's go back and I'll show you what it is like with the bells and whistles, just to show that it is a pretty decent T16 build. So I normally go for something like this, which looks to stack a lot more move speed. So we swap over to gold wrap for toughness. Hellfire is fine for an extra passive. What have we gone for? We've got Pound of Flesh in, as well as working in both Brawler and Berserker Rage. Larceny Ring for the fear, and that'll make us move faster as well, and a Stone of Jordan for a bit more damage. There are other ways of adding more damage to this, I'm sure. Zodiac to do the lifting on the cooldown for the Wrath of Berserker, and then a bit more move speed from Battle Rage, just swapping away from the kind of toughness items. So if we put the Paragon back in as well, now I do put a bit into Vitality sometimes just to help out with that one shot, just in case you don't have your gold wrap up, because you never know, you don't want to get caught with your kind of pants around your ankles, so to speak. And we also swap onto Marathon just so that we can perma spam the move speed. And as you can see, obviously with all the stuff, with all the bells and whistles, we now move much faster and slice through everything. Job is a good one. So yeah, not bad for keys. We do sometimes run out of Fury, which is a bit of a bummer. So maybe maybe we could go with the Unforgiving passive, just to beef that up a little bit, because without enemies to hit, we do struggle with it a little bit. Interesting. Maybe I've changed something. This shouldn't be running out of fury like this. Maybe we'll do some repairs on the way. But as always with these characters, if something like this is going on, if you're running out of fury and you're thinking, right, well, this sucks, I don't really know why, what you can always do is just make a change. You know, maybe put Wind Shear on, but I think Unforgiving should just about fix this. So maybe I've messed up with the passives. I mean, it wouldn't be a filthy casual video without messing up on something, now would it? Right, let's box this guy off. If we can find him, there he is. Right, so what should we get rid of? I think if we get rid of Brawler for Unforgiving, that should fix it. The other option is dropping a little bit of move speed and going for Charge. So, you know, both of those things, if we jump back in now, should pretty much have us maxed out on Fury. Because we can always just hit the Charge button and get another 50. And we're ticking along with the Fury, 1 per second or 2 per second or whatever it is. So, there you go. Maybe I was over spamming the sprint. It's been a little while since I've played Barb, to be perfectly honest. So yeah, if you like mashing buttons, maybe go for this setup. Maybe stick the 2 move speeds on. But if you can be disciplined with your sprint applications, which obviously I can't, I just love spamming buttons, then maybe this is better. Another gem to consider as well is the Wreath of Lightning. 25% move speed, which will go off a decent chunk of time. I tend to find that realistically, once you get to a certain point, adding move speed is a bit like diminishing returns. It's like going from like 200 to 225. That's probably closer to a 10% increase in move speed rather than the 25 that it would look. But yeah, not too bad. Right, now would I start Barb? If you're a solo player, solo casual, I probably wouldn't. Even though Whirlwind is lovely and it does offer an advantage because it is spin to win from the start. And I'm mainly talking about comparison with the Demon Hunter here. Demon Hunter is going to have spin to win next season. It's going to require the actual sanctified items, so the season theme, to get that working. But you'll be able to like crush 115s, 120s probably solo casual, like 800 to 1000 Paragon, and some nice gear and some Echoing Nightmare augments. And I just don't really see Barb getting kind of close to that. Maybe Legacy of Dreams, Hammer of the Ancients will, but you've got to bear in mind that's going to take an awful long time to build. It's going to require ancient items, well-rolled items, and I just think that's going to take a decent time to get going. If you're going to group, Barb is a wonderful choice as E-Barb, absolutely fantastic. You'll get tons of Barb gear doing that, and you'll just have to either go Whirlwind or Raycore as you build up your Legacy of Dreams Hoser Barb. But I still think the fastest thing is going to be the Demon Hunter. Even though Shadow and Pale's not the starting set, even though you need the season theme, I still think it's probably going to be fast. It's your fastest way, I think, to more XP, higher gem levels, and all that kind of stuff. But that is the guide on the Whirlwind Barb. Don't be afraid to put these passives on, for extra fury. Don't be afraid. Like Hurricane will do the Vortex, that's why I like that. If, let's say, you get the Sanctified Power and you roll it and decide to roll it on a Whirlwind Barb, one of the 3 choices is that the Whirlwind will suck stuff in and hold it, and if that's the case, you can go and put Wind Shear back on, generate a bit more fury, and then perhaps you wouldn't need Unforgiving, or perhaps you wouldn't need Warcry Charge, and you could go back and stick on a bit more move speed with Battle Rage Ferocity. So it's like a little sliders. You play around with it until you find the barb that's right for you, I think is what I'm trying to say. Right, Barb, I'm going to play a lot of Barb next season. I'm sure I'm not going to start it, but I'm going to play an awful lot of it. My goal is to get Z-Barb up ASAP, start working on maybe some Whirlwind speeds. We'll have a little look. As I said, I missed PTR really because I was on holiday, so I think they could be fun. I'm not going to play Raycore, I don't think. I played a little bit of that last season, didn't really like it that much. I thought it had a lot of promise, but it just was a little too clunky. Lord Hota, really excited to get that geared up and play it. But yeah. Barb, spin to win. What do you reckon, guys? You going to start it? I've been the Filthy Casual. Take it easy. Peace.